let's get this over with. What in the heck's going on, Alex? Let's get this over with. I don't know. I say let's get this started. Let's get this show on the road. Get this party underway. Let's get this day going. The day going, man. Let's get it going. Alex, good morning. I see we got a couple people out there already. Bright and shiny on the 14th of October. Month's almost half up. Oh, man. 31 days. We can't really say the 15th is midway. Say 15th, morning of the 16th, I guess, is midway through the month. Midway, halfway there. Well, we're halfway there. Alex, are we living on a prayer? Had a great session last night. Awesome conversation last night with folks going through the RMF class. Guys, it's exciting to see the folks entering the field. It really is. It's exciting to see the folks entering the field and coming from a wide variety of backgrounds. Guys, it's just, you see people that want to get in this field, that are trying to get in the field, that are making this happen. Makes me happy. Checking my buttons, making sure things going good. Looks like shenanigans going on YouTube, in the YouTube world. That's okay. It was talking about getting into the cyber field, right? Getting into the cyber field is, man, why is it got to be so tough? I understand what we're doing. I understand what we're doing is important and it's critical. And a lot of times you're on people's systems. Just, you gotta make sure the right people are there. So that's obviously we see administrative security controls in place. But why? And I'm in the same basket. Why do we set this bar at this level of perfection to get people in the field, right? And I'm not talking. I'm not talking very well at all. I'm not talking about these people that are going, for senior positions. People that have been in the field 20 years, 15 years. I'm talking about entry-level positions. The job postings for entry-level security jobs are ridiculous. Entry-level SOC analyst, entry-level ISO, entry-level just security person, right? 5 years experience, bachelor's degree, CISSP. Entry-level, guys. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Part of the reason we're going to be 3 million people short this year is because we write job descriptions like that and we put requirements out like that, and then HR goes out and tries to find a person. When they do find a person, we're going to try to bring them in at entry-level wages, and they're going to go, I'm not taking it. So the job goes unfilled. Or people that want to take the job don't think they're qualified, so they don't even apply. Got to get better. We got to track people out. We got to get entry-level positions with entry-level job titles and descriptions. We got to do it. It's working. I'm guilty. We just posted a position. It was a senior position, but I ended up reusing the old job description and copying things over. Bad on me. I'm part of the problem right now. We got to go back in. We got to look the descriptions over. We got to make sure they match what we're looking for. That's what I heard last night, loud and clear. Last night is people. One hand, every news article I see says the cyber field is going to be like 3 million people short in 2021. And then in the other hand, we got all these people trying to get into the field that can't get that first job. And then they're like the old credit situation. I can't get a job because I don't have experience, and I don't have experience because I can't get that first job. So we talked about a little bit of that. We talked about how to help people get their resume better, how to target different jobs, and that's what we really got to do. Oh, Alex, I wish we could bring everybody on here. Budget just doesn't support that, that's for sure. Got to get more people buying the RMF class. Maybe we get some more people going, but yeah. Cold this morning, a little chilly. That's for sure. I broke this out, guys, and I know we want to test this. this whole thing, this whole jug, this tankard. So we're wearing our red logo there on one side and the Cyber-Recon obviously on the other. Big old tankard of Java for me. Usually I use that big cup, but I keep spilling it. So this thing's got a nice pour spout. We'll run it through its paces, see if it's worth getting more in stock. We'll put them on the swag site. Maybe we'll probably put different logos on besides just the red one. But pretty cool. It seems to be working pretty well. The day one. And the other thing I was going to show you guys is this cool blue cup, the blue Cyber-Recon cup, with the big sticker. We haven't got off of it yet. Don't look at the big sticker. But it's got the wings on one side and the giant Cyber-Recon on the other. Tervis cups. Told you we're trying Tervis out, see how they're doing. The stuff going on. Swag everywhere. Yeah, it does. I agree. It looks like a nuclear silo. Giant. Big old thing. Got my shirt on. We're getting ready. We're 1 day away from Trivia Night. One stinking day away from Trivia Night. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Come out. Mako's knocking it out. We're talking about, I'm going to tell you one of the domains right now. I'm going to tell you one of the domains. I'm going to give away one of them, and that's cloud security. That's one of them. Now you know one. There's like 3 you don't know. Come out 7 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the YouTubes, and you'll be using the Socrative or Socrative app to answer your questions. So get there a bit early. We'll walk you through getting set up and getting ready to go. Win a prize. Maybe we'll give one of these cups up. We got these other ones I think are pretty cool from Tervis too, because I know there's some young ladies out there that maybe guys, I'm being sexist there when I say that, I guess. You can ever see these are the this rose gold color. They got Cyber-Recon on that side and the wings on the other side, of course. Hard to see on the screen, of course, but it is laser etched on there. Kind of a cool color, and there's it's kind of silvery color too. Same thing. You can kind of see that Tervis stuff. So, bunch of stuff coming in, bunch of Cyber-Recon stuff. Waiting to give out. Maybe we'll give out one of those cups. There's a green one too. We'll give out one of those. Maybe a winner can pick their color. Get it shipped off. So, Kansas City is our cup of the day. I would like to see you guys for Trivia Night. Trivia Night would be awesome. It's gonna be a fun time. I'm telling you, fun will be had by all. Have a beverage, have a tasty beverage of your choice, alcoholic or not. It's up to you. You pick it. And we'll put you through your paces. See if you know your cyber trivia. See if you can come out on time. We know Ralph has been knocking them dead. Mike Bravo was the standing champion. We'll see if we can get him out maybe on Thursday. Maybe he just couldn't make Wednesdays. Get him out, see what he's doing, see how things are going with the Bravos. I know they're probably in transit right now, getting to work. So I know one of the people we talked to last night. I'm not gonna call him out, but he's at work right now. He's working. He said he can't make this show because he gets to work at like 5 a.m. But maybe he's going to watch it on the YouTubes. Maybe he'll watch it later too. So, you know you are. I'm talking about you. I think it was a good session last night. Talked about a lot of stuff. Other things we're talking about. Looking at things. Looking at your movement into this field. Is it federal? Is it private sector? Or is it just contractor jobs, consulting? You got to decide that when you come in the field. You got to kind of pick that. You can move around, of course, but you want to zero in on one when you're coming in. So we do have a few things today. We're talking about Microsoft Patch Tuesday, and obviously the article we always pick for this gives you links to not only Microsoft but other Adobe, all the other sites too. Make sure you're all patched up, locked up, and know what's coming out for Microsoft. Know what Patch Tuesday had brought us yesterday. Got a new type of malware out there. New type of ransomware to me. It's not really new. New to me as we've never covered it in this show before. And ransomware just everywhere. And we're going to talk a little bit about more. Yesterday we talked about U.S. Cyber Command going after TrickBot. Apparently that was just the tip of the iceberg. It was a coordinated attack. There was not attack, coordinated strike. Maybe we'll call it that. I don't want to call it an attack. Cyber-Recon definitely did offensive maneuvers. But some of the other people didn't. They were more defensive, so I don't want to call it definitely attack. It was a coordinated effort. Folks like Microsoft were in on it. There was a whole list of people that were in on this movement against the TrickBot. So you got to think something's up with TrickBot. We know TrickBot's tied into a lot of things: state-sponsored movements, ransomware attacks, malware for sale. It's malware as a service. They were going. They went after TrickBot hard, and they knew, and we'll talk about it in the article. They knew they wouldn't take TrickBot down. They knew. They call it kneecapping, not decapitation. So they said they're just trying to slow them down, to try to disrupt their operations for a bit. You gotta wonder what. Man, they put a lot of effort just after this one malware operator, TrickBot. So you got it. There's more to the story. We just don't know it all yet. So that's what's going on. That's the news we're going to talk about today. That's what's in the news, as Paul Harvey would say. The rest of the story. Eric's here. Eric, I got a chance to talk to Eric online last night in the RMF session. I think it was awesome. It was great to put a face to the name that we see every morning. Realize that WebEx is not my tool of choice, and strange to say, I'll be going with the Zoom. Zoom with its new security features in place, just more full-featured than old WebEx. Strange but true. Strange but true, guys. So Eric, I think it went well last night. It was good to see you. Good to put a face with the name, and good to hear what you're all about, what you got going on. So that was a good session, a good session, I think. So let's throw the intro in there. Let's throw the intro in, and let's talk about, as Paul Harvey would say, let's talk about the news. Do. Such a mellow song. In the morning. Let's get this to where we can see everything. See what's going on. Make sure everything's working the right way. Got a little bit of halo today. I think that's just the lighting, I think. Work our lighting out a little bit. If you're listening to the podcast, obviously you can't see the lighting. So if you listen to the podcast later today, it's available on all the places we posted, iTunes, Amazon, everywhere else. You know, you'll be wondering what the heck we're talking about. Talking about a glow, a little edge I've got because I've got the green screen behind me. So, oh my goodness. Microsoft, Patch Tuesday. Just rolled through Patch Tuesday. Your vulnerability management, your patch management folks should be hot on the trail of these 87 vulnerabilities that were fixed yesterday. Guys, that's just Microsoft. This is just Microsoft that's put 87 patches out. 21 of the 87 are for remote code execution in different products. This is across their product line, Excel, Windows, even their TCP IP stack in Windows. Vulnerabilities galore, right? The article in your show notes talks about the 87 vulnerabilities across a wide range of Microsoft products. By far the most dangerous bug patch this month is CVE 2020-16898, described as remote code execution vulnerability in the Windows TCP IP stack. The bug could allow attackers to take over Windows system by sending malicious ICMP version 6 router advertisement packets to an unpatched computer via a network connection. Bad juju, man. Bad juju. We know these CVSS scores go up to 10. This one gets a 9.8 on the CVSS Richter scale. Bad stuff. Make sure you're patching. We know that's we're talking about ransomware. Ransomware is kind of being I think it's been the number one threat you guys got this year. Make sure you're patching those systems. Almost a perfect score. Another bug to keep an eye on is CVE 2020-16947. Remote code execution in Outlook. Microsoft says this bug can be exploited, tricking the user to opening a specially crafted file with an affected version of the Microsoft Outlook software, the program. Obviously, that's a bad thing. Perfect for our phishing attacks, right? Don't reel them in. So watch out for phishing. Got to patch these things. Got to be on your schedule. Make sure you patch according to your processes. Oh, man. Vulnerability scanning, patch management systems should be in high gear moving through these vulnerabilities. So our article in the show notes by ZDNet. I love, and when we talk about Patch Tuesday, I'm going to probably always give you the ZDNet article because it doesn't only give you Microsoft's patches, right? And I know some of you guys got a lot of stuff going on. You don't have time for a bunch of overhead. You've got to get the short and the sweet list when you get to work. And that's what they've done. In this one article, they obviously detail, well, at least they list. I don't say they detail. They detail the top ones. But they list all 87 of the patches that are in this latest rollout. But they also provide you a link to the security update portal, guide portal for Microsoft. They give you the Adobe security updates, the SAP updates, the Intel update, VMware, Chrome 86, and Android, all available at the click of a button, click of a link on this one site, on this one page. So you go to that, you get all of your rundown for this month, at least on those big companies, right? The one other thing I wanted to talk about the patches that are being released is right on the top of their list. Adobe Flash Player, it's a CVEID is ADV 200012, weird number. October 2020 Adobe Flash Security Update. And the reason I call this one out, Adobe Flash is going away at the end of the year. So we're in October, November, December, and Flash is going away. So the thing you need to do, it's not really, it is security, because Adobe is, the reason you're getting rid of Adobe is because it's just insecure as heck. Can't fix it, it's just bad. It's always on the list of malware operators. It's a big target. You got to get rid of it. So you got to work with your organization. If you have people in your organization that are having Flash applications, and I still know a lot of people are distributing training content on Flash, it's going to stop working. It's just going to stop. Adobe will not support Flash after the first of the year. And most of the web browsers are going away from it too. We should be HTML5. So if you got Adobe, and I try to figure out how to figure out if Adobe, people are using Adobe at your organization. Because there's going to be an issue at the first of the year, and of course they're going to blame security because this is going to be tied back to Adobe Flash is not working. We got rid of Flash because it's a security problem, and now security is going to be like people are going to be like, what is going on? Why'd you guys kill Adobe? Flash? You guys didn't. Adobe killed Flash. Video killed the radio star, and Adobe killed Flash. Morning, Mike. Great to see you again. Great to see you, Mike. So that's it. Go check out the article. Work with your VM folks. Maybe you are the VM folks. Maybe you're patch management, or maybe you're your vulnerability management folks. Obviously, I'm going to tell you my thought of this. We talk about this probably every month. Vulnerability management, your vulnerability scanning people, and your patch management people got to be two different groups. Got to be two different groups, man. They really do. You can't have the people watching to make sure that the scans are done be the same people that are putting the patches in place. Don't do it. Don't fall in the trap. I know a lot of people do. They say, well, if you're scanning for vulnerabilities, why don't you just patch too? No. Bad security practices there. Bad security practices. Next one. You guys may not know these guys. Software AG. Software all good, right? No. It's a German firm, Deutscher firm. Yes, big company. Big company. The Clop group. So this is another type of ransomware, right? The Clop group is a ransomware operator. They attacked Software AG, and Software AG is a German conglomerate with operations in more than 70 countries. So they're big company. And they're threatening to dump Software AG's stolen data if the ransom is not paid. And get this one, guys. Man, $23 million. That's the ransom. Whew. It's a two-pronged attack. Data's been encrypted. And the data's been taken. And they're threatening to dump it onto a dark website. Clop and the group's signature malware have struck again, according to this article by Threat Post. Becky Brecken, thank you, Becky, for putting this story together. This time hitting a giant target from the German software conglomerate Software AG. And the company says, we're not paying it. So they're saying so far. Over the weekend, it confirmed that crooks were releasing company data, according to reports. The Clop ransomware cyber criminals were able to infiltrate the company's systems early October. The company released a statement on October 5, publicly announcing the attack, adding, this is a quote from the statement, while service to its customers, including its cloud-based services, remain unaffected. As a result, Software AG has shut down the internal systems in a controlled manner in accordance with company's internal security regulations. But that assessment turned out to be prematurely rosy. Just days after that, the company had to admit Clop was in fact able to access and download customer data, and on Saturday it admitted that the data was being released, according to Bloomberg. If you don't know, GDPR, the European Union has GDPR, and its requirements on privacy are much more stringent than Americans' requirements on privacy. Still, that being said, that Germany is part of the EU and it falls under GDPR, and they know that customer data has been taken in this attack, they have still determined that they are not going to pay the ransom. And obviously the law enforcement folks are going to say, don't pay the ransom. Sets a bad precedence, and when you pay the ransom, that makes the bad guy want to continue doing this, because that's how they're making their money. And then when we talked about, keep talking about it, goes back to money. They do this because that's they make money doing it. Hard pill, though. It's a hard pill to swallow, because you're leaking your customers' data to the internet. And Mike's agreeing. Yeah, Mike's saying the same thing. I don't think they'll pay. Yeah, they're saying they're not going to pay. $23 million, you know. 23 million here, 23 million there. Pretty soon it adds up to a lot of money. It's an old joke, right? Wow. Today, Software AG has obtained the first evidence the data was downloaded from Software AG servers and employee notebooks. There's still no indications for services to customers, including cloud-based services, being disrupted. So it's not only they got on servers, they got on laptops, they got in and did bad things. Ransomware gangs are becoming bolder and more sophisticated, going after larger and more lucrative targets with their criminal attacks. This recent attack against Germany's Software AG is one of the largest ransomware attacks, but certainly will not be the last. That's Becky telling us that. Even with complete security stack and mature security operations team, organizations can still be vulnerable, obviously. We can do our best to keep up our defenses up to date, including behavior and analytics tools, and can identify new attack vectors and educate our users to reduce the attack surface. At least make it harder on the bad guy. And they didn't say exactly how Clout got into Software AG. He didn't talk about that, how that happened. So the CEO of Guruchal, also went on to say, with little risk of punishment and potentially a multi-million-dollar payoff, these attacks will continue until the equation changes. Something's got to change. Because otherwise, if you do 5 or 10 attacks and you charge a multi-million-dollars, 4 or 8 of them don't go good and just a couple of them work, you're still making millions of dollars, right? Scale and clout don't make an organization immune from ransomware attacks and often make them a more vulnerable target. Bigger target, you're going to be drawing more attention. An organization having deep pockets mean attackers will devote vast resources towards compromising them. And more employees and more networks mean a larger attack surface. Also shows that the threat actors are more motivated than ever and feel confident requesting exorbitant sums, likely due to past success. Yeah, if they continue to make money doing this, they're going to continue to attack people and run these ransomware attacks. So Clop was first discovered last year, February 2019, by the malware hunter team. Cool name. And they're calling this tactic now, we've called this a double-pronged attack. They're calling it double extortion, meaning that not only are they encrypting your data with a very complex encryption key, but they're also taking your data and they're going to post it on a website. Besides Software AG, Clops recently hit ExecuPharm, a biopharmaceutical company, in April. Obviously, we talk about Maze all the time. Maze does the same thing, this double extortion. Maybe we'll start using that term. Last month, Maze dumped personal information of students in Las Vegas on a shady underground forum after the Clark County School District didn't pay the ransom. So Clark County didn't pay. Earlier, yesterday or the day before, Monday or Tuesday this week, we talked about Fairfax County School District right out here in Virginia. They're not paying the ransom either. Huge school district, 220,000 students, 25,000 staff and admin. They're not paying either, and they're not paying Maze either. These guys aren't paying. Clark County schools didn't pay. Man, it's a fight right now. It's a fight because they're getting your information. They're throwing your information on to the dark web. And some even going as far as throwing it on social media. Oh. But Clop has distinguished itself by going after top flight companies rather than small to mid-sized schools and municipalities, which have emerged as the bread and butter of ransomware crooks everywhere. Yeah, Clop ransomware is usually packaged inside to hide its inner workings, signaling signing a malicious binary. In this case, ransomware may trick security solutions into trust the binary and let it pass. So it's weird. This one, there's in the show notes they talk about this. I'm not going to go in detail like the notes say, but essentially when Clop runs, and this is going to tell us, it's going to be a big tell on who is behind this thing, because I don't think this article talks about it. The first thing it does, it looks to see which type of keyboard you have installed. So it checks the value to see if it's a Gregorian, a Russian language, Azerbaijan, or other keyboard, right? So it's going to return either a 1 or a 0, so a binary result, Boolean logic. If it belongs to a Russian keyboard or another keyboard that would be associated with the Confederated Independent States, essentially former Soviet Union states that are aligned with Russia, it gets a 1. Everything else gets a 0. Gets a 0, the malware works as normal. It goes like crazy. If it returns a 1, then it's going to double check and check the screen to see if it's somebody, maybe, I guess a tactic to avoid these guys is to install software that makes it look like you have a Russian keyboard. And it's going to do a double check. It double checks to see if you're running essentially 2 keyboards, a Russian one and a normal, like English version one. If it determines that you're actually speaking and typing in Russian. It leaves you alone. It stops the attack and it goes off. So this is not a human intervention. It's not a human behind the keyboard. It's an automated attack. So this can, obviously this is going to make us think that it's coming from Russia. To me, it's got to come from Russia. One of the things the Russian government is doing is, as long as you're not attacking Russia or any of the states that it cares about, like the CIS, they essentially are going to leave the bad guys alone. They're letting them, if you want to attack America, you want to attack Great Britain, you want to attack Germany, go for it. We don't care. Just don't attack Russians. And they built the software to not attack Russians. So it's going to check to see if you're Russian. If you're Russian, it leaves you alone. If you're not Russian, game on. It's going to go after you. So Clop's use of batch files, it uses batch files to run some of its programs, indicates that the programmers behind it aren't that sophisticated, but apparently they don't have to be that sophisticated. Who's Piaz? Piaz has made a statement. Customers want to be reassured their data is safe when an organization they do business with is a victim of ransomware. However, when statements need to be later walked back, it ends up doing more harm to an organization's reputation than if they hadn't issued this statement to begin with. So they were essentially talking about Software AG saying, hey, we're kind of under control. We did a controlled shutdown. They didn't get anything, and then later had to walk back saying, yeah, they got not only customer data from the mainframes, from the servers, but they also got enough laptops and stuff. That means they were running the network. Although statements such as these are typically done with good intentions, they can still have serious consequences if proven wrong and data is leaked, which is the case here. $23 million. Wow. Of course they're not going to pay it. Good morning, Dee Dee. Nice to see you. And Adam in the morning. So we're going to see this. And as we talk about, and we'll talk about in the next article, TrickBot is in the middle of all this too, right? TrickBot is one of the tools that's used and distributed by a lot of the ransomware operators. And TrickBot yesterday we knew that US Cyber-Recon had done a coordinated offensive attack on TrickBot to disrupt their operations. And then the folks that listen to the chatter on the Russian-speaking channels were able to listen in and say, okay, the folks from behind TrickBot are saying, okay, we're going to change our ransomware from 10% of revenue to 100 or 150% revenue. And we're seeing, I don't think this is, this company is gigantic. Software AG is gigantic. So 23 million is probably still 10% of revenue, maybe even less than that. But if you see these folks still starting to go for 100, 150% of revenue, going to be bad. It's going to be bad for a lot of companies. It's going to be bad for a lot of organizations. It's going to be a bad deal. A bad thing. So as long as these guys keep getting money, they're going to keep doing what they do. We know. I'm going to say it, Eric. We talked about it last night. These rules of three. The three things you can do for your basic protection of ransomware. And this is not deep coverage. This is the bare minimum you've got to do. And that's not have RDP, remote desktop protocol connections on open networks, including the internet. Trusted networks are okay, but not on any untrusted networks, like including the internet. Put those things behind a VPN. But once you're behind a VPN, make sure you do the second rule. All of your stuff, your hardware, your software, your firmware, your drivers have to be updated and patched, right? And Alex, we talked about all those things you got to make sure you're patched, not just the big OS stuff, but firmware and drivers. All that stuff has to be patched. And three, you have to train your end users. Don't click the links, man. That's the basics of don't click your links. And then on the other side, we know that we have to back up our data. And this doesn't protect you from that double-pronged attack, right? It doesn't protect you from people stealing your data and then reposting it. But if we have the ability to do 3 backups of our critical data on 2 different types of media and one of them offline, that's going to give us the ability to recover. So 3 and 3, the 2 rules of 3 that are the basics, the pure basics of ransomware protection. What are some other rules? What are some other rules? Throw them in the show notes, throw them in the chat. What other, we can encrypt data, right? Problem is, when we encrypt data, it's got to be able to be read by people on our network, so they've got to have the keys, so the keys have to be somewhere. If they steal a bunch of encrypted data, it's encrypted already, maybe it's not going to be very good for them. Bang. $23 million software AG. I can understand why you're not paying it. TrickBot. Yesterday we talked about TrickBot. Yesterday we talked about TrickBot in Cyber-Command, going in there and messing with things, poking TrickBot in the eye. They knew, Cyber-Command said, we know this is not going to take them down. We know it's just going to slow them down. But that's what we want. It gives a little reprieve from the attack, a little protection from the attack. That's what they're talking about. Talking about the protection that's being provided by this little hobbling, this kneecapping, as they talk about it. So there's another article by ZDNet, and this goes on with Cyber-Command. We talked about yesterday, Cyber-Command doing their offensive maneuvers against TrickBot. The TrickBot botnet survives a takedown attempt, but Microsoft sets a new legal precedence. And this precedence in the back, at the end of this, we're going to talk about, because it kind of ties in what we were talking about the other day about the backdoor in encryption. So TrickBot botnet has survived a takedown attempt orchestration by a coalition of tech companies on Monday. The TrickBot command and control, or CNC, servers and domains seized yesterday have been replaced with a new infrastructure earlier today. Multiple sources in the InfoSec community have told ZDNet. So they took over, they took back the domain controllers, they took back the CNC controllers, this coalition of tech companies, but TrickBot's already got them back up and running. Security researcher said, our estimate right now is what the takedown did was give current victims a breather. So some of the people involved in this, they don't cite individual people, they just cite companies. Microsoft's Defender team, FS ISAC, the financial service ISAC, ESET, Lumen's Black Lotus Labs, NTT, Broadcom's Cyber-Security Division, Symantec, are on the list of folks that were in this coordinated takedown. One source described Monday's action as kneecapping the botnet rather than cutting off its head. ZDNet was told that even from earlier planning phases involved, the parties expected TrickBot to make a comeback and plan follow-up actions. So you got to wonder what's coming next. What's the next shoe that will drop? Tom Burt, CVP of Customer Security and Trust at Microsoft, said, as we've seen with prior takedown operations, the result of global disruption involving multiple partners shows up in stages. We anticipate the TrickBot operators will attempt to revive their operations, and we will take additional legal and technical steps to stop them if necessary. Article goes on to say, this multi-phased approach to disrupting TrickBot is a directed result of the botnet's complex infrastructure, much of which runs on bulletproof hosting systems, which are unresponsive or slow to react to takedown attempts. The Threat Intelligence Bulletin, with restricted distribution shared with ZDNet on Monday night, security firm Intel 471 noted that TrickBot began moving CNC servers to the EMER DNS decentralized domain name system as a way to counter the ongoing takedown attempt. By Tuesday morning, the botnet's infrastructure had recovered, although it wasn't as active in previous days. So they did slow it down. TrickBot. So it took them down a little bit, but now they've moved on to a better version of DNS. Our goals were discussed in the takedown taken into consideration. These included adding additional costs to TrickBot authors and delaying current malware operations, such as ransomware attacks that are usually discovered using TrickBot as a conduit. TrickBot is one of today's top 3 most successful malware as a service operations on the cybercrime underworld. The botnet uses email spam campaigns to infect computers, downloads this malware, and then steals data from the infected hosts, then later resells it for profit. But the botnet also rents access to infected computers to other criminal groups, which also account for a significant portion of its profits. That's where the money's at. And these customers, in quotes, include operators of interstellar Trojans, BEC, which are email campaigns, fraud groups, ransomware gangs, and nation-state hacking groups. So they're not limited who they're renting their stuff to. They just, yeah, go ahead and we'll rent it to you, no problem. All about the Benjamins or whatever they are in other countries. The botnet can be disrupted, and this risks exposing, compromising the operators of customers, some of which may not want to be exposed to law enforcement tracking. A botnet that can be disrupted isn't reliable business-wise, especially for TrickBot's regular customers who are paying considerable fees to have access to infected systems at precise times. So, just a thought, maybe this was a coordinated effort to stop something from happening just in the last couple days. Maybe the intel sources are saying something was going to happen, and just stopping it that for a couple days was enough to stop the attack that was either planned or underway. It's hard to say what the bigger picture on this, but they were able to destabilize it, to cause it to go offline for a little bit at least. But there is a new legal precedent that's been set. I'm going to read this from the article, but the TrickBot takedown also played another role, one that was invisible to most observers. The court case that preceded the takedown also helped Microsoft set a new legal precedent. In court, the OS maker argued that the TrickBot malware abused Windows code for malicious purposes against the terms of the standard service for the Windows Software Development Kit, or SDK, over which all Windows apps are used. Microsoft successfully argued that TrickBot was infringing on Microsoft copyright of use of its own code by copying and using the SDK for malicious purposes. Some might call this approach to taking a botnet as petty, but also a genius legal move. In previous cases, Microsoft or law enforcement usually had to present evidence and be ready to prove that the malware was incurring financial damage to victims in certain jurisdictions, steps that usually meant identifying and contacting victims. This new approach focused on the misuse of Windows SDK code, both easier to prove and argue, but it can also be used in any jurisdiction, providing Microsoft's legal team with more agile approach to going after malware gangs, which is why they're likely to reuse it for faster crackdown in the future. Wow. So a lot of stuff in that last piece, right? So the whole first piece was about going after TrickBot. And one of the ways they did that is they said the TrickBot is using the Microsoft SDK in a way that is not legally authorized to do. So in that case, they were able to get the court orders and do what they needed to do to take down these command and control servers and the domain controllers, DNS controllers, DNS controllers. But it opened the door to allow Microsoft to use this tactic in the future. So now, obviously, it's good for going after the bad guy. We like that, and it's kind of like the encryption thing, encryption backdoor. It's good for law enforcement, but there's another side to it. Another side is, do you want your service provider having a backdoor to your encryption keys? I think that's the same thing with this. It gives them the legal precedence to go after people that are using this SDK to create malware. But what other options does it give Microsoft if people are using that SDK in a way that they don't agree with, or they think is outside the agreement? So if I'm building a tool, maybe I'm a white hat, trying to do something good for the security community, and I use this SDK to build a tool that uncovers vulnerabilities in Windows, and Microsoft doesn't want that released, they could use this same precedent to go after me, right? Not saying I'm doing that, but it's a possibility. In this case, the good far outweighs the bad, but is that going to be the case every time? What precedence has been set by this? It's just a question. It's not legal advice. I'm just wondering what else can Microsoft do now that it's got this precedent? Because this is a smart company, smart lawyers, and they think about what they don't just do things. Thinks about. If you guys don't know, the U.S. was not the first country to go to space. The USSR was the first country to go to space. Sputnik, they put Sputnik up far before we put anything into space. But there's a lot of talk now that we let them do that because it set a precedence that space was for everyone to use, right? You couldn't claim space the way that the Soviets put Sputnik up. It allowed the U.S. to say that, yeah, there's really no claim on space. There's a big article. I'll have to dig the article up. There's a big article about the race for space, and there was a lot of discussion that the Soviets were allowed to go into space first because then we wouldn't have to argue some different points about how the territory of space is divided up. Same thing here. What are they going to do with this? What's the motive behind the scenes? Is there one? Maybe there's not. Maybe they just said, we're going after these guys. But the big point is, TrickBot. Think about TrickBot. Behind a lot of the ransomware attacks, this is kind of the engine behind a lot of the ransomware attacks, state-sponsored stuff. This week we've had U.S. Cyber Command, and then we've got this coalition of tech companies have gone off after TrickBot, and all they've been able to do is temporarily slow them down, temporarily stop them. So as a company, as an organization, as a household, you're going to have to be on your A game to keep TrickBot out, right? Do your hygiene, patch your systems, have antivirus, have defense in depth and diversity of defense, have layered defenses, have some type of threat intelligence, whether it's IDS, IPS, or a full-on intel stack on your network looking for these things. Look for the indicators of compromise. Train your end users. Those best security practices we have to follow to keep the bad guy out, right? At least make it harder. So that's a rundown of your news. Hopefully that helped you. Helped you prepare for the day. We got to have a holiday, something to talk about around the water cooler. I guess virtual water cooler these days. National Dessert Day. Today's National Dessert Day. In your show notes, I threw an article from Newsweek. Actually, it's from last year. I thought it was this year. But it's got a list of folks that are providing some type of free something. And I'm sure these are all active this year. Gosh, thought I grabbed the right one. Dang it. So it's National Dessert Day. Have a dessert today. I'd say check the show notes. There's I'm sure oh man. I hate these websites that have a bunch of talking ads in them. Shouldn't have picked that one, I guess. But Krispy Kreme, Miss Fields, bunch of other places. But anyways, just know it's National Dessert Day. Have a dessert. Have a dessert and a smile. That's what I'm saying. Have a dessert and a smile. That takes us to the end of the show. Hopefully you guys are out there. Take care of your friends, your family, your coworkers, and each other. Take care of your organization. Take care of each other. Bravos are going to say, go get some. Don't forget Trivia Night. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there, be square. So who has the security chops? Get there a little early. Make sure your Socrative is up and running. Make sure you're logged in. Make sure you have your beverage of choice. We're going to have 4 rounds of 10 questions. multiple guess, multiple choice, I think, all this time. And got a bunch of messages coming in over there. We'll see you then. So that rounds out the day. That rounds us out. If you haven't, check out the Facebook page. Facebook.com/Cyber-Recon training. All one word, no dashes, no hyphens, no nothing like that. Being run by the lovely D is keeping that up and running. So that being said, you guys all be good. Take care of each other, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7:30. Same bat time, same bat channel.